Wasting time on fitness myths that do not actually work. Today we are busting 5 common health and fitness lies that might be holding you back. Stay tuned. Myth number 1, carbs are holding you back. Well, this is a whole common myth before. A lot of people like to do a low carb diet because they think they're making them fat. That's why keto is so prevalent, or meat-based diets like keto, carnivore, stuff like that, or even the vertical diet. The reason why these diets are more better than carbs, that's what people like to point out, is because you lose a lot of weight on the scale. What type of weight am I referring to? Mostly water. Let's be honest. If you have a low carb diet, most likely going to have a lot of water weight drop off the scale. That's why it's so present, and that's why a lot of people like it. And the only thing you have to focus on is meat. Nothing else, just meat, which can be good in that sense. Is it the best form of dieting? Not in my opinion, because you're going to miss a lot of macronutrient when you eat a low carb diet perhaps, but at the same time, you don't need carbohydrates to survive. You do need health, you do need fats and protein to survive, but you don't need carbohydrates. The reason why these diets do really good because they lose a lot of weight on the scale. And carbohydrates, fun fact, stores about 3 grams of water per carb. So around that, you're going to lose a lot of water weight. For a bigger male, for like 200 pounds, 240, they can lose 10 pounds of water. For a smaller female, like 150, 160, they can lose about 5 pounds of water. So that's why it's so mentally better, because, well, you're focusing on one thing, so there's not a lot of stress, and you're losing a lot of weight. You're being depleted with these like carbohydrates. So you're not filling that muscle belly with water, so you don't look bigger, you don't feel bigger. That's why it's better. I'm not trying to shit on these diets. These diets can be really good for someone who's just starting off, just because they're just focusing on one thing. They're gonna eat protein, high protein. It's gonna be very hard because it's the most satisfying macronutrients. So that's going to be on this topic, but protein intake with these diets should be around 1 gram per pound of body weight. So if you're doing this type of diet, protein intake will be high. I would recommend 1 gram per pound of body weight or a goal weight. So if you weigh 300 pounds, eat 200 grams of protein if that's your goal body weight. If you're more smaller, let's say 150, you can eat 150 grams of protein or 200 grams of protein. More protein does not mean it's necessarily bad. Of course, you have to be careful because you might be constipated, digestive issues, but other than that, you're perfectly fine eating more protein. If I have a client who doesn't want to track calories, which is a big situation, then you don't have to track calories. Just make sure you have a high protein diet. I would recommend to track protein at least so you can be consistent. Just because you used to track before doesn't mean you're good with the portion size now. I've been tracking for a long time, and even then I'm off by a lot. So you have to be consistent with that. So protein intake with these carnivore or meat-based diet. Am I advocating for meat-based dieting? No, not necessarily, but whatever works, works. What I recommend for somebody is try to do a whole foods diet. Just do whatever you want to eat. So if you want to eat meat with potatoes, go right ahead. If you want to eat cottage cheese, if you want to eat, like oats, for crying out loud, or more vegetables in your diet, it's not going to kill you. Of course, typically why people also talk about why carbs are bad, because they associate with these carbohydrates with bad carbs. So processed carbs, let's say donuts, stuff with sugar in it, that is a bad carbohydrate. That's why carbohydrates are bad, typically because you could overeat on those carbs. So those carbs versus good carbs, which is potatoes and greens, those are better than, obviously the candy bars and the donuts. So you want to stay with the candy bars and donuts and just focus on the good carbohydrates instead. Would it make a difference? Yes, it could. It could make you more fuller. You could be on a calorie deficit longer. Volume eating is a good one. Just be careful with that. I mean, there's a lot of benefits just eating what you want to eat. Just make sure it's from whole foods. So things that's from one ingredient only. So like a potato is a potato, a chicken breast is a chicken breast, a chicken thigh is a chicken thigh, red meat is red meat. Things that are only one ingredient, eat as much as you want. Because at the end, you're not going to overeat. And if you do, then track some calories. But in the end, it's going to be very hard to overeat if you're the person that's, just starting off, who never really have a high protein diet. So I would recommend with that. But in the end, carbs are not bad for you. It just typically we associate with bad carbohydrate, which is the donuts and the processed food. So next topic. You need to work out every day to see results. Myth number 2, you need to work out every day to see results. This is a big myth. Typically the bodybuilders or the big fitness fanatics really push because it's good marketing. I mean, do you have to in a short, do you have to in a short summary? No. You don't have to work out every day, dedicate long hours in the gym like it's a 9-to-5 job. Hell no. I used to do that. I used to follow that myth. I used to focus on 6 times a day in a week in the gym, 6 times a week in the gym, doing hours of cardio, doing hours of strength training, and I see negative results. For me and my clients, since I'm a personal trainer, I just need fitness. I have to focus on strength training probably 1 to 2 times per week with every client I have. Of course, they're older, but even me, I only strength train 3 times per week, maybe 4. So it's just dependable on your situation. But short term, no, you don't need to work out every day just to see a result. It takes, actually, studies show it takes about just 1 time per week just to see any results, great results. So I mean, with a compound lift or the right strength training protocol, without like a workout like Orange Theory or something kind of like HIIT cardio, actually focusing on resistance training the proper way, you will see crazy results. So that's something you guys should look into, and have videos like that, like how to get strong, etc. So look into that. But do you need to work out every day? That's no, you really don't. Myth number 3. Spot reducing fat is possible. This is typically, everyone knows this is not possible, but you see these fitness dudes online saying, here, you want to lose this belly fat? Let me do some ab crunches, which is not true. You can't spot reduce fat, but you can spot building muscle mass. You can, if you want to build muscle mass on your arms, you can. If you want to build muscle mass on your legs, you can. And the best part with this is, if you build muscle mass typically, or the area that you probably have more fat in, you're going to decrease body fat and over time build more muscle. And what muscle do is helps to burn body fat, or it helps to shrink down body fat. And if you have a higher body mass percentage to go high, you have a low body fat to go down typically. But typically the saying goes, if the first way you gain it, like this, if a specific area you gain it fast, that might be the last way, like that might be the last like area that you can lose it fast. For me, the last area to lose my body fat is really my legs, my glutes and hamstrings. Well, my love handles, my glutes and legs. Really, it's my glutes and legs. That's my last area. So I kind of got lucky in that situation because you can't, I can show my abs and I get a 4-pack. I used to be 144 pounds. So I was very lean. I took it too far to cut. But I know now that my last spot is my legs and my glutes. That's my last. But typically for some people it's their abdomen. If it's a male, for a woman, it could be their glutes or legs, or their arms. That's their last spot. They had to, lose that area. But you can't spot reduce fat, but you can spot build muscle mass, which is actually better in my opinion. So instead of doing ab crunches thinking that it's going to help you to show your abs, instead try to, obviously it's diet, have a role in it. So have a better diet. So eat high protein, but also strength train properly, build muscle mass, and therefore you're losing that body fat and increasing that muscle. So when your abs do show, they're more thicker, they're more toned, they have a shredded look than just going down in weight, losing muscle mass that you worked so hard for, and therefore now you got smaller ab definition and a smaller toned look, and now you're more flabbier. So in my opinion, just try to build muscle where the areas are at, have a better diet, because diet does play a role in fat mass, so eat a high protein diet to actually build muscle and fix recovery, and that's really it. Myth number 4, more protein equals more muscle mass. This is very old information, but I mean, typically I'm just reaching out from the audience. Eating more protein doesn't mean you equal more muscle. Eating more protein equals to maybe more satisfaction, being more fuller, less cravings, stuff like that. But typically eating more protein does not result in muscle mass. This studies show that, if you eat more protein on the bulk, you can easily damper less of body fat storage, but even then, you're not going to gain more muscle mass because of it. What's going to help you gain more muscle mass is your sleep and your training. If you have a HIIT cardio style training that's just nothing but catabolic training and not focusing on proper strength training with compound lifts or any good machine training, then you're not going to gain the muscle you want to gain, especially if your sleep is inadequate. So you need to focus on sleep and training. Nutrition will play a role, but if you eat a high protein diet, which is plenty enough, and having decent amount of calories for you, which you're not on a deficit or a maintenance, maybe you're on a bulk or maybe you're on a maintenance, not always on a deficit, then you will grow. But eating more protein does not equal to more body muscle gain. It just doesn't. You can't store. How protein works is it's not like fats and carbs. When you eat, like, let's say high amount protein for one day, the next day doesn't re-roll. It doesn't, like, if you eat 500 grams of protein for divided to 7 days, you're not eating an extra amount of grams of protein each day. It doesn't, if you miss your protein amount, you miss your protein amount on that day. It doesn't store in your body. Protein doesn't work like that. And if you eat a lot of protein, your body won't utilize every single gram of protein if it's over your need. And I'm not advocating saying, oh, you have to eat 40 grams of protein each meal or your body won't use it. That's not necessarily. Your body won't use all the protein amount if it's over a certain amount that your body will need. So if you eat, let's say 200 grams of protein, 220 grams of protein, you weigh 220 pounds, but then the next day you eat 300 grams or 400 grams of protein, let's just say 400 grams, then your body won't utilize all the protein just because you ate an extra 180 grams of protein. Because you already have your body weight, you already have your mass protein, you just ate it. So I mean, that extra 180 grams of protein is just for you to be more satisfied or eat more calories. That could be another reason you build muscle is the calorie amount from protein. Not because it's protein itself, it's just the calories you consume. That's another reason we could build muscle mass because you're in a surplus. But other than that, you're not going to build more muscle by eating more protein.
So cardio is the best way to lose weight.
Myth number 5, cardio is the best way to lose weight. This is not the best way to lose weight, and this is not the best way to keep it off. This is not the best way to actually start your fitness journey if you're starting in 2025. I am telling you for personal experience, here's my pictures. I am 144 pounds. I was doing nothing but cardio. I lost 110 pounds. Here's my picture when I was 255 pounds. I was strength training, but I was also doing a lot of cardio when I was 15, 16. So 14, 15, 16, I was doing nothing but cardio and strength training, but just cardio. I wasn't eating a lot of calories, and therefore, throughout that time, I was losing a lot of weight. But at the same time, the weight was muscle mass. And I regret it to this day. The reason why we want to keep muscle mass because it can protect under fractures. It can protect cancer, it can protect sickness, it can protect a lot of things. But also, when you keep more muscle mass, you will have a more toner look, a more shredded look, a good looking physique compared to that person who's losing 30 pounds on a scale but it's mostly muscle mass. Yes, that person probably loses 5 or 10 pounds of fat, but therefore they're more of a smaller and flabbier version of themselves. A lot of people can relate if they have excess skin or excess fat because one of the reasons why is because they might lose the weight fast, but they lost a lot of muscle during that process. So that's why they have the extra skin, or they could have the extra body fat on them, but they're smaller, right? So you would think it's a good thing, but it's really not. So you need to take it slow. You need to focus on proper strength training, which I specialize. Description below. You can have a free assessment with me, with a certified personal trainer, and therefore you will have a better physique with more muscle mass. If you go on the cardio equipment for 2 hours straight, or even 1 hour straight, and not focus on resistance training and keeping the muscle mass you already have in general, then when you get down to that body weight, you won't look good. You will not look good. The only reason why I was starving in this picture, but the only reason why I had the muscle mass I had is because I had a high protein diet and I was strength training. Was it good strength training? Hell no. I was doing 6 times per week. But my point is, I was doing a lot of cardio and I was losing nothing but weight, aka muscle mass. So I was losing muscle mass, not good body fat, nothing, just muscle. And therefore I got a bad physique, in my opinion. Now I have a better physique, even though I have a higher body fat percentage, I have more muscle mass and I'm actually more healthier compared to when I was in that photo, when I was 144 pounds. So just so you have a broad understanding, more cardio does not mean better. And yes, you will lose weight faster when doing more cardio, but then your body adapts to the cardio burn every 2 weeks. So let's say you did 1 hour of cardio, it burns 300 calories. Next 2 weeks lands, now you doing the same amount of cardio and it burns only 200 calories. So 100 calorie difference. It can do that. But how muscle works is when you properly strength train with resistance training, properly rest periods, then now you're investing in yourself, you're putting more interest, and therefore the interest is more muscle mass. So you're changing your metabolism to burn more calories while sedentary, so it's not a demand on your body, and therefore you can eat more, you have better feel, you're more stronger, you're more active than having something that you have to do consistently. And that's not going to be good, especially if you're busy. So it's something to look for. This video, so pretty much we covered 5 myths about carbohydrates, about losing weight on the scale, about eating more protein to gain muscle mass. You need to work out like 6 times per week just to see results, and spot reducing body fat. We talked about all those 5 myths. Are they accurate? No, do not do them. Please, for the love of God, talk to me in the free assessment below, please. We have a Zoom meeting we can do, and I will answer all your questions with every count of information that I know. That's really it for that. I'm just telling you, if you do all those 5 myths, you will have a bad physique, and you will not have a good Happy New Year's, and you're going to be like another Happy New Year's type of person that comes into the gym, says, hey, let me get started, and comes back out. So if you want to be consistent this time around, please go in the description below, have a free assessment with me, watch my other podcast, and that's it. Goodbye. Hello everybody, my name is Dre from NoBSNutirition. This is episode 45 of the podcast series. If you try and start your Happy New Year's correct and start off right, please go in the description below with my Happy New Year's start of podcast video. This is like what you should look for, this is what you should eat, stuff like that is in the description below. If you like podcasts like these or YouTube shorts, go right here or right here in the description below, or it's going to be in the end credits, okay? Today we're going to talk about 5 fitness myths that are probably going to be not really helping you throughout your fat loss journey, perhaps, since it's Happy New Year's month. And we're trying to gain progress. We're trying to stick to this as soon as possible, and we're not trying to fall off the wagon wheel. So I hope this video is helpful and educational. If it is helpful and educational, please like and subscribe or share this with a friend.